Good day everyone! So in this video, I will be discussing the continuation of our topic in the contemporary world, which is all about the global city. And before that, let us first give the definition of the two terms. So the word global means relating to or involving the entire world. Example, global warming, global pandemic like the COVID-19, and global organizations such as the United Nations and the World Health Organizations or WHO. So basically, when we say global, it means something that covers, affects, or involves the whole world. On the other hand, city is a large and permanent human settlement where many people live and work. And here in Quezon Province, we have two cities. So first one is Lucena City and Tayaba City. And maybe we wonder, paano ba nagiging city ang isang municipality? So, here in the Philippines, a municipality can become a city if it meets a specific criteria under the local government code, such as it has to have a minimum population of 150,000 at kumikita dapat ito annually ng 100 million of more. Okay, ganun pala yun. Okay, so moving on, what is global city then? So a global city is a major urban center that plays an important role in the global economy, culture, and politics. And there are 4 key characteristics of global city. First one is cultural diversity. Ibig sabihin, sa lugar na to, kailangan diverse ang kultura. Example is Singapore. So sa Singapore, maraming lahi na nakatira doon. So may mga Chinese, may mga Americans, Europeans, Asians, and so on. So hindi lang isang kultura ang present, but rather it is diverse. The second characteristic of global city is that it have to be a center economy or serve as the main hub of business, trade, finance, and industry. And the best example of global city that is a center of economy is the New York City and in the USA. So New York City is the home to Wall Street and New York Stock Exchange, and it is also a headquarter of major global corporation and financial institution. And it also a key center for global finance and investment. Ibig sabihin, ang mga pinakamalalaking gawain pang-ekonomiya ay nangyayari sa city na ito. Next key characteristic of a global city is it has to have a global reach performance. So this refers to how strong it connects and influences the world's economy, culture, and innovation. Example is Tokyo, Japan. So in Tokyo, it is one of the largest financial centers in the world. And it is also home to Tokyo Stock Exchange. And aside from that, may mga produkto na galing sa Tokyo na kilala talaga sa ibang bansa. Example, yung mga anime and so on. And aside from that, let's talk about the multinational corporation that is present in Tokyo, like Toyota, Sony, Mitsubishi, and marami pang iba. Marami pang ibang mga product ang Tokyo sa Japan na nagkakaroon ng impact globally. Okay? And last key characteristic of a global city is the dispersal of economic activity. So when we say dispersal of economic activity, it means that business, industries, and productions are no longer limited to one country or region. Ibig sabihin, nag-outsource na sila at kumukuha na sila ng different things sa ibang bansa para mapaganda yung produkto nila. Example, iPhone. Ayan naman tayo sa iPhone. It is made in California, but it might be manufactured in China, assembled in Vietnam, and sold all over the world. So basically, yun. Okay? And globalization, of course, have a significant impact to the uprising of these global cities. And so we can further understand that, let's talk about the 3 stages of globalization. So paano ba siya humantong sa point na nagkaroon na tayo ng mga global cities? So the first stage of globalization is also called the Globalization 1.0 or the age of mercantilism and colonialism. It is between the years of 1492 to 1800s. So European nations built global empires and economies to gain wealth and power through trade, conquest, and colonization, shaping the modern world. So, and here in the Philippines, nangyari din sa atin, of course, ang merkantilismo at kolonyalismo nung panahong sinakop tayo ng Espanya, whereas the Spain, they ruled over the Philippines and they tried to gain the gold or they try to capture the resources that we have here in the Philippines to benefit Spain, but not the Philippines. So parang nagitayong ginatasan tayo ng Spanya during that time. Okay? So the driving force of the globalization during this time is the workforce, horsepower, wind power, and later on, the steam power. So global impact, it led to the first wave of globalization, connecting continents through trades, migration, cultural exchange. Also, it caused exploitation, slave trade, and loss of indigenous culture and lands. Okay? So the next stage of globalization is the age of Pax Britannica between the 1815 to 1914. So maybe you wonder, anong nangyari between 1800s to 1815? So anong nangyari doon? Nagkaroon ng gera. It's between the Napoleon the Great and the British Army. So during that time, eventually, nanalo ang Great Britain. And the word Pax Britannica means British peace in Latin. So it refers to the period when the British Empire was the world's most powerful nation. And during this time, the driving force of the globalization is the emergence of global market and multinational corporations. Impact: the creation of connected world economy, the spread of industrial and cultural influence, and the maintenance of global stability. But it also brought colonial domination and economic equalities. Okay, the age of Pax Britannica, or the globalization 2.0, was followed in 1945 by the age of Pax Americana, or the globalization 3.0. And in this stage, the US became a dominant global power. And just like what happened during the transition of the globalization 1.0 to the globalization 2.0, nagkaroon din ng gera. But this time, the war here is the World War II. So after the World War II, the most powerful nation is America. Kasi sila yung pinakananalong nation. Sabihin natin sila yung pinakananalo after that war. And the US became the dominant global power, maintaining relative peace and stability through its economic, military, and cultural influence. And aside from that, USA became the sole superpower in the so-called unipolar world. So when we say unipolar, it means one dominant center of power. Sila yung naging pinakamalakas during the time. And the impact of this Pax Americana is the creation of a stable, interconnected world led by the United States, marked by peace, economic growth, and technological progress and cultural influence, but also by US dominance and an equal global power. So, yun. Siguro, nagtataka kayo, what is it with the Pax Americana na hindi pa rin siya napapalitan right up until now? And one of the reason for that is because the America uses soft power. So when we say soft power, according to Joseph Nye, soft power is the ability to influence others through attraction or persuasion rather than coercion of force. So ang Amerika, ang ginawa nila, imbis na military power or force power ang kanilang pairalin para to stay on top of the game, sabihin natin ganun ha, ang ginamit nila is soft power, whereas they influence other nations to believe in them. And through that, sila yung pinaka naging magandang nation. And aside from that, is the global corporations that became present in the USA. So this multinational corporation, they drive the economic growth, global connections, innovation, and urban development, and make global cities the center of trade, technologies, and culture, though they can also create social economic challenges. Okay, so basically, that's all for my presentation in this video. And if you're wondering, ano ba yung mga pinaka-powerful na global cities in our world? So here is the chart for that. So first one is New York, London, Paris, San Jose, Seattle, Melbourne, Sydney, Boston, and Tokyo. San Francisco. So that's for the whole world. And Manila is actually on the spot of 206. Naka 206 tayo. And we are in 5th place in Southeast Asia. So maybe we can say, not so bad naman. Hindi naman siya sobrang grabe, ano. Okay. So that's it for my presentation. I hope you learned something about this global city. Bye-bye.